All right, game on. So I also just want to let you know that I am going to ask just a few of you, I'm going to pick a few of you at random to pop on live and just give a 1-minute intro to the group. So if you can just have a little think about what it is you might want to say, and then I'll start bringing some of you on. I'm just joking. Don't freak out. I'm not actually going to do that. But what I do want you to do is think about what just happened in your brain when I said we were going to do that. Oh my gosh, I haven't done my makeup. Is my hair okay? What camera angle am I at? Am I going to look fat? What am I going to say? What if I say something stupid? Why didn't you tell us we were going to do this? Oh my gosh, all of that. And it didn't even happen. And if you're like most of us, you get all of that and more before you've even started your day, before you've even done your morning wee. And it doesn't stop, does it? Let's just have a little look at the day in the life of a female professional. So you're rushing around in the morning, trying to get ready for work, so preoccupied with all the things that you've got to do and all the time you don't have in order to do them, that you forget to put deodorant on. But you don't realize until you step into your first meeting, having run around like a blue-ass fly all morning trying to get there on time. And of course, everyone wants to shake your hand. Nice to meet you. Then later, you're running your team meeting, trying to focus on all the key priorities for the week and motivate your team to take massive action. And all you can think is, I really hope they can't see my muffin top. You're pretty sure you managed to conceal it underneath the oversized 80s jacket that you pulled from the archive that morning in a panic, but you still fear that somehow, some way, a little bulge might have made its way into the public eye. Oh, the shame. But then a new problem arises. Underneath that pure polyester jacket from the past, your body temperature starts to rise by like 6 degrees or more. It's as if you've wrapped yourself in plastic bags. There ain't no airflow getting through that bad boy. So of course, moisture starts to form upon your person. Yeah, you start sweating. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's rather inconvenient, given that you forgot to put deodorant on this morning. And yes, it is. But what's more inconvenient is trying to figure out a way to mop the moisture from your sweaty upper lip while addressing a room full of people without them seeing. You have to have some smooth moves for that one. All of your fears are coming true. You knew it was only a matter of time before you got found out, and everyone would realize you got no idea what you're doing. So you wrap up your team meeting as quickly as you can, and then you retreat back to your office to numb the pain with some caffeine and chocolate. Eventually, the day starts to draw to a close and you can finally lay your head on the pillow. Right after you've just sent your last few emails from your phone and made yourself feel even more inadequate by scrolling through social media and seeing how much better everyone else's life is compared to yours. But you can't go to sleep yet. Oh, no. Not until you've rerun the entire day over in your head just a few more times, berating yourself for all the things that you shouldn't or should have said and all the things you shouldn't or should have eaten. So you resolve tomorrow you'll be good and you'll just have to put more effort in to try and win back the respect of your team that you lost today. And so finally, as you're lying there, trying to think of a time when you didn't feel that you were drowning in shit, you drop off to sleep. Welcome to the world of a female professional. We have got a lot going on, don't we? But what you might not realize is, as well as driving you crazy, all of these thoughts, together with your inability to switch off, are actually causing the stress response to be triggered consistently. The old fight or flight mode, I'm sure you've heard of that before. So our brain constantly thinks that we're under threat and it's working overtime to try and protect us. Now, the only problem with this is it's never going to be successful because the threats are never going to go away. It's kind of like trying to fight or run away from your shadow. you're never going to win, because your shadow isn't a physical thing, and neither are your thoughts. Because here's the thing, our brain doesn't know the difference between real and perceived. So it will respond in the exact same way to these incessant thoughts as it would to a physical threat. So say a wild animal starts charging you, your brain is going to kick into the flight mode and get you the hell out of there. Or maybe your partner tries to take the last piece of chocolate when you're on your period. Your brain is going to kick into fight mode in that situation, probably fight dirty mode, am I right? So let's just have a little look at the science for a moment. Now, I would like you to please pop your first thing in the chat, and I'd like you to let me know who of you out there checks your phone when you first wake up in the morning. So I'm not sure if we can do thumbs up, a yes, whatever you want to put. Just let me know in the chat box now who checks your phone when you first come up in the morning. I need to scroll down. Yes, 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 yep. Okay, I thought that probably would be the case. So what that means is, and thank you very much for all of your responses, yeah, all yeses. So what that means is you're setting off these thoughts and this response before you've even stepped out of bed in the morning. So what happens is we have this stress, and as you probably have understood by now, when I say stress, I'm talking about all these thoughts and these worries, thinking about how much you got to do. So that then sends a signal to the amygdala. That is triggered when the stress happens, and that's the part of your brain that is responsible for survival. That sends a distress signal to the hypothalamus, which is basically the command center of our brain, which then sends a signal to our autonomic nervous system. So I'd like you to imagine for a moment that you are sat in a car. Might be your car, maybe the car that you last rode in, or maybe even your dream car, like a Bentley or Tesla, maybe. So imagine that you're sat in the driver's seat, and now I want you to imagine / do putting your foot on the accelerator. And now put your other foot on the brake. So your autonomic nervous system is essentially the car. The accelerator is your sympathetic nervous system, so your fight or flight mode. And the brake is your parasympathetic nervous system, which we call rest and digest. So I'm sure you can appreciate if you were to keep your foot on the accelerator of a car all of the time, you would run out of fuel and break down, right? Well, it's exactly the same for our bodies. So what we need to do is put our foot on the brake just a little bit more consistently throughout the day, so then we can have efficient energy consumption and we can reach our destinations without running out of fuel and without breaking down. You get me? So after a little bit more of the science and a little bit of intro, that's what I'm going to be teaching you today, is how to put your foot on the brake throughout the day so that you can allow your parasympathetic nervous system to come out to play and your parasympathetic nervous system to calm the hell down, meaning your body will calm the hell down and you can go about your business with a whole lot more ease. So I want you to put your imagining hats on again, and I'd like you to imagine for me this time your ideal day. So a day where you feel calm and energized, your work is flowing, your relationships are strong, you're not sweating the small stuff. Something happens, you just let it roll on by. Maybe someone tries to cut you up on the way to work. No problem, sir. Please pop in ahead of me. So I want you to imagine that kind of day, and most importantly, imagine how good it feels. Now, when you put your foot on the brake more consistently, that is how you can feel every single day. Because when you're in that mode, you are in control of your thoughts and actions rather than out of them, meaning you have the power to choose how you respond to everything that comes your way, the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. So that's what we're talking about today. The importance of having the control, but also how to have the control so that you can choose to challenge how you experience life. So I hope you're all sitting comfortably, because we will continue if my clicker will work. There we go. I'm about to go old school and manual and push the thing. So I also have a sweaty upper lip issue, just letting you know, you will see some smooth moves coming from me throughout the talk. So just a really quick bit about me, because it's important for you to understand why I do what I do. So as you can see, stress management expert, performance coach, and my mission is to make a massive dent in the rapidly increasing statistics of lifestyle-related disease and distress that are coming as a very unnecessary result of our highly pressured lifestyles that we live today. So we are more unhealthy and unhappy than ever, but we've actually got more information and resources and solutions available to us than ever. So this is really the source. Stress is the source of a lot of it. So, that's some things that you may have seen me in. So I am a POM, as you can probably tell. I moved to Australia and I fell into the health and fitness industry. Now, me being a driven lady, which I am sure most of you, if not all of you, are on the webinar today. And so I decided, well, I don't want to just be a personal trainer. I'm going to have to own my own gym. So I found an old video store, if anyone remembers what they are. And I converted it into this beautiful personal training studio that you see before you. So this was like all my dreams coming true. Now, don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy to get there. I worked my butt off physically, emotionally, and mentally. To give you a little idea of what that looked like for me, I would sleep maybe 4 to 5 hours a night. Some mornings I'd get up at 3:30 a.m. to train before I would start my day. In this gym, I used to sleep on a swag in my office, so I didn't have to waste time going home. I lived 15 minutes away. So as a result, I started to experience all sorts of health issues that I couldn't fix with diet and exercise. So things like extreme digestive issues plus extreme bloating, to the point where I remember one of my clients asked if I was pregnant when I was in my personal training uniform. Not cool. I'm sure you can all attest to that. I had hormonal issues. I was putting on weight, even though my diet and exercise was the same. Massive erratic moods. Energy was usually rock bottom, but sometimes I'd be completely wired at weird times of the day. But at that time in my life, I was just too busy to really figure it out. I did a little bit here and there, but I had too much to do. So I just kind of passed it off as normal and kept drinking coffee to get through the day. Then I got a big kick up the bum from the universe, and that came in the form of a phone call one Friday night from my head trainer, who I had left at the studio to finish the day. I'd actually gone home to chill out for the afternoon. And in this call, he said, "Hey, Laura, there's been a bang and there's some smoke." So my initial reaction was, for goodness sake, can I not even just have one afternoon without there being an issue? But of course, I got in my car, drove back down to the studio. On the way, got a text message from my alarm system saying overload. And as I pulled up to the traffic lights, a fire engine screamed past and I could smell smoke. So long story short, over the course of the next 2 hours, this was my gym. So that's the inside of my gym from the outside. And I'm sure you can all appreciate no one ever wants to see the inside of their gym from the street or their business. So yeah, we literally watched the whole thing burn down. By the way, in case anyone's thinking, it wasn't an insurance job. And if it was a terrible one. It was actually at the hands of the neighboring restaurant. So yeah, this happened. Now, remember, I told you I was very driven. So I went into fight mode. And I relocated my gym the next day and carried on trading. I had all these clients and team members. So I was like, okay, here we go. I'm the phoenix rising from the flames. Yeah, no, I wasn't. Not behind closed doors. I was fully burning out at that point. So all the health issues that I told you about were supersized, and I was struggling to even get off the couch most days. So eventually I shut my business down and I went on this big old journey to find out what the hell was going on with my body. I spent a lot of money, a lot of time doing all sorts of different therapies, qualifications, workshops, you name it, reading. I did it, trying to figure out what was going on. I think the catalyst, I always like to tell this story of when I really decided I had to do something about it, was when I found myself in a room with a group of ladies sat in a circle, and we were being told to jump up and down and summon goddesses to make us feel better. And I was like, okay, I need help. So eventually I came to the understanding that it really was my mind driving my body. When I say that, I mean, I had things going on that were causing this response, such as perfectionism, wanting to be all the best all the time, setting really high standards that were too high to achieve them, beating myself up for not achieving them, wanting to be there for everyone, please everyone, going to extremes. I was very much all or nothing. All of this was driving the response that I've already started to tell you about. So once I figured that out, I could work on what was going on here with some physical calming techniques that we'll talk about today, so that I could then get my health and my life back. And then I realized that, you know what, everyone's going through this to some degree. They don't know that it's themselves holding them back, and they don't know how to fix it. I see people all the time, different diets, different exercises, different medications and therapies. There's a place for everything, but we have to get to the source. So that is why I do what I do. And I can tell you, I've pretty much experienced most stuff people have. Not that that's a good thing, but it's good for you, because I know what's coming and I can see all the signs. So that's what I bring into everything that I do. So, right, let's get back to a bit of the science stuff before we get to the strategies. So we have not changed. Even though the world around us has evolved at an amazing rate, our bodies and our brains have not. So we still respond in the same way to these dangers as we did when we were cave people. But as I said, it's just that our dangers nowadays are more perceived dangers and internal dangers rather than those physical ones. So one major point that I would like you to take away from today is that our brain's #1 priority is to keep us safe. It's to protect us so that we can keep the species going and we can live forevermore, right? So it's really important to remember that, because everything you think and everything you do is your brain trying to keep you safe. Now, I know you're probably thinking, Laura, how is my brain keeping me safe when it's making me eat a whole block of chocolate and drink too much wine on the weekend? And I can see your point, but it's a strategy of your brain to keep you safe, because what it's actually doing is trying to keep you in your comfort zone. It's trying to hold you back, because if you go out there, out of your comfort zone, your brain doesn't know what's going to happen out there. It's the unknown. There could be so many dangers out there. So your brain's like, don't do it. Stay here where I can protect you. So then it feeds you these thoughts, and literally feeds you these thoughts or behaviors to keep you safe. So if you find that you are, thinking something or doing something that isn't helpful, that can be your first port of call. What's happening right now to make my brain feel unsafe? Is it that I feel I haven't got enough time, or I haven't done enough, or I don't know enough? And we'll come to all of that. There's always going to be something that's making your brain feel unsafe. And that is the best place to start when you want to try and unravel and understand these thought and behavior patterns. So we're going to come back now to my little diagram. So as I said, stress starts in the amygdala to the hypothalamus, the autonomic nervous system, and the sympathetic nervous system. Got it? So just remember, the car, it puts the foot on the accelerator. That's your sympathetic nervous system. So at this point, your body will release all these physiological processes, different hormones and chemicals. Adrenaline and cortisol are key ones in this response. And basically, it will get your body ready to literally fight or run away. So as you can see, some of those processes are your heart rate and your blood pressure will increase, your breathing rate will increase, your body gets flushed with all the energy from your muscles, your liver, all goes into your system, so it can then be sent to your muscles and your vital organs so that you can literally fight or run away. Now, I'd just like to point out the breathing rate and heart rate increase here, because anxiety is a bit of an epidemic that we're going through right now. Pretty much everyone I work with and most people I meet that are kind of highly professional and driven have some form of anxiety at some point. So it's really important for you to note that that's literally this response happening. So if that is you, this is very important what you're going to learn today. So as I said, the main priority of the brain is to keep you safe, and all these responses that happen during the stress response are to help you fight or run away. So what your body also does is it looks at the other systems and goes, right, what do I not need right now? One of the key ones is digestion. The brain looks and goes, well, I don't need to digest anything right now in order to fight this thing or run away from it. So I'm just going to steal the energy, steal the blood from digestion, slow it and shut it down and shove it to where I need it. So at this point, lots of digestive issues can occur. So maybe erratic bowels, bloating is a massive one with us ladies. Unexplained bloating happens all the time. You might even develop, can't talk anymore, I'm too excited, develop some allergies that you didn't have or some food intolerances. You might have IBS. So if your digestion isn't functioning well, that's a problem because your digestion has a massive impact on everything else in your body. So really pay attention to that and start with the gut when you want to start healing yourself. Now, if your digestion isn't working properly, of course, it can't extract the nutrients from the food you eat, assuming you've eaten some nutrient-rich food in the first place. So it means your body can't get all of the energy it needs, so you can become very tired right down to a cellular level. And it also means that your body becomes toxic because you're not getting rid of the waste. That then leads to inflammation. Now, inflammation is when there's all this toxicity and acidity building in the body, and that really is the precursor to a lot of issues: sickness, disease, not having any energy, bad mood. Inflammation is a catalyst for a lot of these things, so we really want to avoid it. If we're very much inflamed, that can also then cause issues with the lymphatic system. So think of the lymphatic system as kind of like a highway around your body. So it transports all the nutrients around, it allows the immune system to get to where it needs to, and it gets rid of all this toxicity. So if you've got too much inflammation and toxicity going on, it gets backed up, kind of like a backup on a motorway. That's literally what it's like. And as you know, that never ends well. So we want to keep that system clear. You might notice, by the way, if your lymphatic system isn't working, that you have some random aches that you shouldn't have. You haven't been to the gym maybe, or been sat in a weird position. Quite often that can be a sign that some lymphatics are blocked. The liver is also very much involved in this detoxification. It's the biggest detoxifier of the body. So if that is overworked, again, you're not going to be releasing this toxicity. It also means the liver can't process other things like hormones, so you can end up with extra hormones in the body. And the liver is very, very intimately linked to the mood, as is the digestion. So if you find you are having erratic moods, or you're flat or maybe sad quite often, yes, of course, it can start up here, but we also need to look at the physical things. So you might need a bit of work on the digestion and the liver as well. So remember, we just got to start by listening and then track it back and then try and get to the source. Now, another system that the body does not need for this response is reproduction. So the brain goes, you know what? I do not want to bring a baby into the world because it is dangerous out there. So it starts to shut down the reproductive system. So if this is happening, you might find that you've got more PMS. Just so you know, we shouldn't get PMS. So that's a very important thing to know. I mean, I think that is motivation enough to sort our bodies out for men and women, actually, because we're all affected by PMS. It also means low libido for men and women, and of course, problems conceiving. Then we've also got the thyroid, so that gets confused during the stress response. So you may find that you're putting weight on inexplicably, or maybe losing it. So that could be a sign that your thyroid is confused. And then we have insulin. So as I said, the body gets flushed with all this energy during the stress response so that you've got what you need to fight or run away. Now, if you're not fighting or running away and you're actually just sat at your desk, maybe stressing out about all the emails that you have to do and all the work that you've got going on, it means that you've got all this energy just running around in your body. So insulin is constantly being released to try and balance all this blood sugar out, and it becomes overworked. So you can become insulin resistant, or worse, you can get type 2 diabetes. Now, I don't wish to fearmonger you here. The whole point of this is for me to just let you know some stuff that could be going on. If there's a few things that you got going on that maybe you've passed off as normal, or you just thought, I haven't got time to figure that out right now, or maybe you've tried and you haven't managed to figure it out through your healthcare system, just know that this is going on, and you can then take that to an expert and start to explore it with them. So I'd like you to do a little bit of work for me now. Hopefully you've got a piece of paper or even your phone, but don't check your emails because I'd like you to write down something for me. So I want you to have a look at these 4 columns of symptoms that can happen when you're overstressed. And I'd like you to write down the top 5 symptoms for you. So we're all different. We all deal with everything differently. So it's really important for you to start tuning in to yourself and understanding what your body is trying to tell you. So our bodies are incredibly wise. They are keeping us alive right now without us having to consciously think or do anything. Our heart is pumping, our lungs are breathing, the blood is going around the body. So our body and our subconscious brain will give us signs and signals to say, hey, something's not okay here. Can you please do something about it? So we want to be able to heed those warnings early before you have to hit burnout or before something bad happens. We can be proactive about this because let me tell you, burnout sucks and it takes ages to come out of it. So you really don't want to get that bad before you are motivated to make a change. So, as I said, write down the top 5 symptoms that you experience when you are overstressed. Hopefully, I've left the slide on there long enough for you to have a look at it. I mentioned a lot of the physical ones, but, you know, quite often eating, us ladies love to go to food or not go to food. We like to overeat or undereat when we're stressed. You know, I've mentioned the bloating, worrying all the time. So, yeah, just start to become aware of those with your top 5. All right, let's have a look at how we can start to manage and overcome this. So as I said, brain's #1 priority, I'm going to keep saying it, is to keep us safe. So if we know that this response is triggered when our brain thinks it's in danger, then we can start to manage and overcome that if we're just consistently communicating safety to our brains, consistently putting our foot on the brake, right? So stepping back, this is what I call it, is a great way to do it. Now, you'll see I've got an image of a bow and arrow there. So think about a bow and arrow. What is the point of it? It is to shoot the arrow as far forward as it can go so that it hits the target, right? Hopefully the middle of the target. Now, in order to do that, we have to take the arrow in the opposite direction from where we want it to be. However, when we do that, it gets the momentum that it needs to shoot forward as quickly and efficiently as it can and hit that target as soon as it can. If we didn't do that, we would literally just push it and it would flop forward. Push it, it would flop forward. So we might eventually get to the target, but it's going to take a lot longer and be a lot more effort. It's the same with us. So we're constantly pushing. I haven't got time to do this and this and this. I just got to keep going. Have some coffee, quick, sugar, let's go. And guess what? That's when we start to get tired, burnt out, and have all these health issues. Whereas if we can just step back for a moment, I like to call it Control-Alt-Deleting our brains, we then have the momentum to go forward with much more ease and get to that target, to that destination much more quickly. So if you think you don't have time to step back, I know there's probably a few of you out there freaking out right now. You need to do it the most. The good news is it's very easy to do it during your day. I don't want to be adding stuff to your to-do list. Change happens through consistency. So we have to make this easy for ourselves. Now, we didn't start any big strategies in order to be in this place that we're in, and we don't have to have any big strategies to get out of it. We just have to do things consistently to then create long-term change. So all these strategies I'm giving you now, you can slot into your day very, very easily. #1 is breathing. I mean, it doesn't get easier than that, right? We're doing it all the time. We have to breathe. But the question is, are you breathing correctly? Now, remember I said our heart rate increases, our lung rate increases when we're stressed. And so what that means is most of us are breathing in our chest, which means we are not making the most of our full diaphragm and not making the most of all the oxygen in and CO2 out with our body process. So I am going to quickly show you how to breathe. And you're going to do it with me, pretty please. So make sure you're comfortable. Now, we want to be breathing in the whole diaphragm. So from the pit of your belly up to your chest, front, sides, and back. So we want to fill your whole torso. So as you breathe in, imagine filling it all up. And then as you breathe out, letting it all contract. So we're going to do 3 breaths right now. Okay, here we go. Breathing in and expanding your whole torso. And again. One more. Oh, how good is that? I hope you all feel as good as I do right now. That's breathing. Like seriously, that is ultimate communication to your brain that you're safe, because if you were in danger, you'd need that fast heart rate, you'd need that fast breathing rate so you can get the hell out of there or fight. So your brain goes, oh, okay, well, she's just sat down having a nice breathe, or standing up having a nice breathe. Clearly there's no danger present, so I'm just going to calm the hell down. So you can have that anytime, anywhere. You'll see I've got a picture of a toilet there. You might be wondering what that's all about. My regular advice to my clients is to go breathe in the toilet during the day, because you can be guaranteed not to get disturbed when you're in the toilet. So you find what works for you, but that's a good little tip you can have from me there. So the next one is meditation. So meditation is, you know, kind of breathing, but on steroids, if you like. So meditation is very important because, yes, it allows you to breathe nice and deeply, to calm down. It also allows you to focus your mind. So with all of these things that we're doing, the point is to let these thoughts melt away, or at least let you get perspective so you can deal with them and have control over them better. So meditation is great for that. It also has many other benefits. It improves cognitive functioning for one. I think that's probably the best benefit. Now, again, I know a few of you might be freaking out at the notion of meditation. I get it. Everyone does. I did. You know, you sit down, all the thoughts in the world come into your brain. You get anxious as all hell and you think, why did I do that? I feel terrible. Again, it's just about consistency. You have to just train your brain that this is what we're doing right now. We are going to calm the hell down and focus on whatever it is. It might be an app that you've got. You could do a guided meditation. You can just Google. You can watch a flickering flame even, you know, watch the ocean. Doesn't matter. The point is to just be still and be very focused on one thing. So I really recommend having a little go at meditation. Again, you can do it anywhere, anytime. You don't have to go find a rock and meditate on a rock by the ocean, lovely as that is. You know, I do it on public transport. I did it before I came on this morning. You know, before you go and see go to meetings, you know, again, it's very accessible. And then the last one on this slide is set boundaries. So if you understand what it is that stresses you out, you can create little game plans to try and minimize that impact. So it could be, you know, if you feel like you haven't got enough time, or you feel like you're overworking and life is all about work, maybe you set yourself a little boundary around your working hours. Now, again, don't freak out. I'm not saying you have to finish work at a specific time every day. Otherwise, you know, everything's going to fall over. But make it easy on yourself. Maybe it is that you say, right, one day a week, I'm going to make sure that I wrap everything up by 5 p.m. If you normally work till 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, probably, you know, that just gives you a few extra hours to be with the people you love, to do something for yourself, you know, to just Control, Alt, Delete your brain so that then when you go back to work tomorrow, you're going to be much more energized. So that's those 3. Then my favorite is to do what you love. Now, this one, a lot of people are kind of like, yeah, whatever, like, what's the point in that? I don't have time. I feel guilty if I do that because I need to be doing other things. But doing what you love is ultimate communication to your brain that you're safe. Because when you do something you love, you feel good right down in the depths of your soul. So again, your brain is like, well, if she feels good right now and she's happy or she's laughing or she's calm, clearly there cannot be danger present. So I'm just going to calm down. I'm going to let the parasympathetic nervous system come out to play, put the foot on the brake, and I'm going to let her go about her business with much more ease. So doing what you love, of course, it can be big things like travel, you know, getting out in nature, great. But of course, we can't always do that in our daily lives. So you can add in some simple ones like maybe rocking out to your favorite music when you're getting ready for work in the morning, or watching puppy videos on YouTube. I mean, who doesn't like puppy videos? It could be doing a bit of Sudoku when you have your lunch break rather than, you know, eating al desco. Or it could be doing like an adult coloring in book for even just 10 minutes is enough to allow those thoughts to melt away. You have to commit to it though, not thinking of all the other things you should be doing at that time. Just allows them to melt away. Remember, Control, Alt, Delete, and then off you go. That little step back, then you get the momentum to go forward. So talking of eating al desco, one of the best pieces of advice I can give you around eating is to eat calm. Now, I, of course, encourage you to go seek out from an expert if you've got specific nutritional needs and physical needs. Of course, they can tailor something to you, but these are just a good couple of principles that everyone should follow. So eating calm is so important if you want your digestion to work well. So as I said before, all those things that happen with digestion when we're stressed, we certainly don't want all that to be happening when we're then putting food in there. So if you can remove yourself from your desk or your counter, wherever you are, just for even 10 minutes, don't take your phone with you, do a few big deep breaths, allow the parasympathetic nervous system to come out to play. Remember, that's rest and digest. Then you're going to be able to get rid of that food, process it much more easily, not have your afternoon bloating, not have your afternoon slump, and have more energy to get done what you need to get done. And then with exercise, I always recommend move according to what you need. So check in with what's going on. If you're doing your regular exercise and you're finding you're more tired than usual, maybe you've got more aches and pains than usual or than you think you should have, maybe the stress response is going on. So maybe you need to bring it down a notch. So exercise is a stress on the body. It doesn't need to be a bad stress on the body. But if you are currently in this response, you're kind of adding fuel to the fire. So just check in. If you have to bring it down to walking, swimming, or yoga for a little while, that's a-okay. Just keep checking in. I'll feel a bit better. Maybe I'll just try that spin class again, or, you know, maybe I'll just try lifting some weights again. If you're tired, bring it back down a notch. So you can have the opposite effect. If you keep trying to push with your exercise, then you're trying to achieve. You can actually start to put on weight rather than lose it if that's your goal. So to give you a little example, when I was at my most stressed, I gave up hard exercise, which for me was terrifying because I was convinced I was going to become morbidly obese if I didn't work my ass off every day. But I just for 2 years did walking and yoga. Guess what? I lost weight, I got my energy back, and I felt much more calm, much more present, and I stopped sweating all the small stuff so much. And my husband appreciated it a lot too. So I like to think of our health as an investment, right? So if we want to build wealth for our future, we have to put regular deposits into our bank or our shares or our mortgage or whatever it is. We have to just consistently deposit things, and then over time we grow our long-term wealth. Exactly the same for our health. So think of these little steps back as tiny little investments into your health so that over the long term, you are really investing in your long-term health. So I know as driven people, we always want everything right now. We want that silver bullet. We can't get it with this. So we have to lower our expectations and know that it can be a longer term game, but actually then once you get there, you're going to be able to maintain it. So we're not doing that yo-yo effect as much anymore. All right, how are we all going? This is lots of information, isn't it? All right, let's just quickly now talk about some of the mind stuff that's going on. So we want to know, now we know what's physically going on, we know how to start managing and overcoming that. Now we want to figure out where it's coming from. So again, just write down for yourself, you don't need anyone else to see it, your 3 things. Like check in with your brain and go, what is going on in my brain every minute, every second of the day? What's that record that's on repeat, those thoughts? So I've given you some examples here, but I could literally fill up, I don't know, an entire football field probably of them. You'll notice there's some ones there about, you know, I'm in over my head, I don't know what I'm doing. That relates to imposter syndrome. That's a massive one for us ladies. So just start to understand what are those key thoughts that are constantly going around in your head. So let's look quickly at how the brain works. Really quickly, simple, hey. but it actually is quite simple when we're talking about it in this sense. So every single second, we absorb 2 million bits of information. Of those 2 million bits, we can only process consciously 134 of those bits. So all this information comes to us via our senses. So what we see, feel, taste, touch, and smell. So our brain absorbs these 2 million bits, sends it through what I call our blueprint, and then consciously allows us to see 134 of those bits. So this blueprint is made up of things like our attitudes, our values, our beliefs, our culture, our memories, our experiences, and the thoughts that we're thinking right now. So our brain takes all that, creates this blueprint, looks at all the information in the external world, filters it through this blueprint, and then gives us what it wants us to see. So what that means is our thoughts literally create our reality. So in order for you to understand this a bit better, I'm going to get you to get on the chat box again for me, please. So I am going to flash up a photo, and I would like you to please put in the chat box the very first thing that you notice when I flash it up. So don't filter it. Don't give me the second or the third. The first thing that comes into your brain when you see this photo. And I want you to put that in the chat box, please. Are you ready? Go. Tell me what you saw, very first thing. Great body. Dream body. Sand, beach, yep. Female, she's stunning. Body, girl, beautiful. Body, her body, I wish. Body, bikini, breasts in bikini. Bikini woman, yeah, perfect. Right, so can you see there are a few beautiful and relaxed? Great. How we had very different, we had some same, but we had a lot of variety around what you saw just then. You were all looking at the exact same photo, but you all consciously processed different elements of that photo. So, you know, some people said beach and sand. Maybe that's because your blueprint is yearning for beach and sand, probably even more so this year because we haven't been able to get away very easily. So your brain would have filtered all those bits to go blueprint, I want to go away. Therefore, I'm going to show you the sand. You know, the body, quite often, you know, always ladies, we say something about her body. It might be a particular body part or just the fact that she has an excellent body. Usually that's because somewhere in our blueprint, we're not happy with our own body. So therefore, because we're thinking about that and that's our blueprint, that's how our brain interprets what's going on around us and gives us that to see. So it's kind of like, well, it's exactly like when we buy a new car. So I'm sure you've all had this experience. You buy a new car and then all of a sudden you start to see that car all around you. Now, it's not that all of a sudden there are more of these cars all around you. It's just that you've got the image of that car in your blueprint. So your brain is filtering out all of the cars in your external world to align with the car imprint in your internal world. Make sense? I hope so. So I want you to come back to those thoughts. There's a few more up here for you to consider. Those 3 thoughts that you wrote down, because these are forming your blueprint, right? There's so many things that form your blueprint. But if these are the thoughts that are constantly going on, they're an integral part of your blueprint. So that means that's going to be what you experience in the world. So if you do have imposter syndrome, if you do think that you know, if you're constantly thinking, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm going to get found out, you're going to start to interpret everything in the external world to align with that. So it might be someone's reaction. It might be something someone says, could be completely unrelated to you and your ability. But because you have that blueprint, your brain's going to pick up on that and interpret it that, guess what? They think I don't know what I'm doing. So it's really important for us to understand our blueprints and then start to change the elements that aren't working for us. Now, the best way to start with this is to figure out, how can I be myself more? Now, I know I make this sound very easy. And as I said, it is easy, maybe not simple because you have to be consistent, but I do like things to be easy. So this is how I distill it right down to one simple thing, just focusing on being yourself. That's what your blueprint needs to be constructed of. So therefore, you're going to interpret the world in the way that's going to give you the experience that you want to have. So looking at what your core values are, what your real goals are, not what you think your goals should be, are great places to start with this. Having those steps back, doing what you love, being around people that allow you to be yourself. All of that is going to allow you to be building this blueprint of who you are, so that you're going to respond differently to the world and interpret it very differently. So just a quick one on the brain again. So let's take exercise, right? If you wanted to get a tight bum, nice little buns, you would go to the gym, wouldn't you, consistently, and do certain exercises over and over again so that you can get the butt that you desire, hopefully. Our brain is the same. So we have to do things consistently to physically change our brain. So our brain's made up of all these different neural networks. So the way that you think and the way you behave right now happens naturally because it's formed a neural network. At some point in your life, you started thinking something, then you kept thinking it, so your neural pathways formed to make this network, and therefore that became your natural way of being. Now, the good news about our neural networks is if we don't use them, we lose them. So if you can then create this new blueprint and do all of these activities in order to reinforce that consistently, these old ones are going to die away. This new one is going to get stronger. That's going to be the natural way of being. So when you are you, you are Uppy. You are you, the real you, and nothing but the real you. So I know that we are running out of time for questions, but I just want to do this one exercise because it's really important, because I want to show you that we can trick the brain so that we can get what we want. So as I said, our brain doesn't know the difference between real and perceived. So we can use that to our advantage. So if we literally imagine and construct what we want in our internal world, in our thoughts, our brain is going to believe that to be true. So it's then going to use that blueprint to construct our external world. So I'd like you please to get comfortable and close your eyes. I'm just going to take you through a quick 2-minute exercise to really show you and reinforce this. So close your eyes, and I want you to first of all just notice your breath. Just focus on your breath. Don't change it. Just notice, do you breathe in your belly, in your chest? Do you breathe in through your mouth or your nose? Just notice how you're currently breathing. And now I want you to go to that deep diaphragmatic breathing that we did at the start. So expanding your entire torso as you breathe in and letting everything contract as you breathe out. Really focus on that. Now I want you to keep doing that, but I want you to count in your head how many counts it takes to breathe in, and then do the same out. So it might be 2 counts, 3, 4, doesn't matter. Just make sure that it's the same number in as it is out. I'll give you a moment to do that. So now I want you to continue with that breathing, and I want you to imagine, again, your ideal day. So I want you to imagine yourself in a specific place. It could be, you know, your house, your bedroom, the beach, in nature, doesn't matter. A place where you can be yourself, a place where you just feel calm, you feel present. I want you to surround yourself in that image with all the people and the things that also allow you to be yourself. And I want you to notice all those things in as much detail as you can. So see what you see, hear what you hear, smell what you smell, and most importantly, feel what you feel. So really transport yourself to that happy place where you can just be you. And now I want you to focus on the feeling that that gives you. And I want you to notice where that feeling is in your body. So maybe it's your chest, maybe it's your belly, maybe it's even your throat. Again, it doesn't matter, but I want you to focus in on that feeling and really, really concentrate on how bloody good it feels when you're just being you. And finally, I want you to imagine that you have got dials and you are turning everything up by 100 times. So all the sounds get louder, all the sights get brighter, they're more saturated, all the details are much more fine. And most importantly, that feeling that you've got wherever you've got it is supersized. So really focusing on that feeling and make it 10 times stronger, 50 times, 100 times stronger. When you operate from that space, that is when you truly have the power to choose to challenge the way that you experience life and to choose to change. Thank you very much indeed.